Welcome to the Fear Factor podcast with our fearless founder of Fit to Profit. She's a mama of two, yoga enthusiast and mindset junkie, and a performance coach. Each week, we'll cover everything from mindset to lifestyle to business. On our guest shows, we'll not only celebrate success stories with other leaders in the field, but we'll dive deep on their struggles and what it takes to build a dream life and business. And here's your host, Dee Kai.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. I am back with you to talk about an important topic, and I would say so important that it touches everything. And without it, we're not going to be able to survive. It gets us really excited about life. It gets us down in our lives. It gets us to do things that we could never imagine doing. And it affects every walk of life. And I want to really mention the topic of money today. Um, I know you guys know already my story. I came from a third world country. I grew up with not much at all. And to be able to do what I do today, loving my job, living in a dream house and a lifestyle with two beautiful kids, my husband and my mom, here in Florida, I have to tell you, it took a lot of work to get here. And I'm also sharing with you that no matter what it is that you're going through, that is going to be okay. And one of the biggest things why I want to mention about my story is it's important to know the origin and the reason why we do what we do. Because just like money and anything else in life, of course, it has to tie to what you're doing, your why behind it. But also, the reason I would say for my early years in business and how I was not consistent with creating the I want to say financial freedom or benefits and rewards that I want in my business is because partially it was from my upbringing and not being able to handle things. I would say the residual, the way that I was raised, and not really handling my own thoughts around money. And ultimately, what occurred to me was that I was doing really well. I was making quite a bit of money even early on when I first graduated from college, but then I spent it all. And it seems like I knew what I was doing because I was doing really well from the outside, but I was really struggling from the inside, not really understanding what why am I supposed to make money, and and what's I was never educated in what I should do with my money, all besides the fact that I was told to save money. And so it got really clear to me until I started my this business. Now I have consulting, was that there was always ups and downs, and it's such a roller coaster to a point where I realized this has really nothing to do with my ability to generate business or to bring in business, but it has everything to do with how I'm handling money. And I really need to address that. So I have to tell you, I've been really super diligent within the past, like I want to say 5 years, looking at ways to really heal myself. And what I discovered, I want to say about 4 years ago, what was really holding me back from um, understanding money and really keeping the money that I need and investing wisely is because I did not heal my relationship with money. And what let me before we even go deep into what that really means is to really keep it simple is that we all were raised in a certain setting with certain experiences, and from those experiences, definitely from earlier in our childhood, dictates who we are and who we think we are, also how we operate when it comes to everything, and especially with money. And so I wanted to really share my little secret with you is that until discovered that all of the problems I had in my business for not being consistent with my revenue, etc., and not having the right conversations with people, everything stems from my relationship with money. And it's going to make a lot of sense when I share these stories with you. But before I even start, just know that each and every one of us have different personalities, right? Like someone is introverted, other people are extroverted. Just like that, we also have money personalities. In some ways, they also have been called money archetypes. And we really have to understand who we are as people with these money personalities and how to really, work with them. So to learn how to really work with them, we also have to really understand, our money history with that. And I mean money, I want to say stories and where we came from and what we were taught when it comes to money. So, understanding your money personality is one thing, and also understanding your money stories and where it all came from has everything to do with the way you are and the way you operate and make the money related decisions. So, let's start with by saying that I was raised with, you name it, the beliefs. These are my set of beliefs that, money doesn't grow on trees, right? Like it's money, it's hard to make. That I have to work hard to make money. Money is evil. And, like that rich people are filthy, right? And so for the longest time, I resisted recalling, didn't want to be in business. My mom always had her own brick and mortar salon businesses when I was, since I can remember. But I didn't want to have anything to do with business because in retrospect, thinking back, it's because I really have this belief that rich people are filthy and that people in business are sleazy. And so that's why honestly I didn't want to have anything to do with it. I wanted to study to be a doctor, quote unquote, so that way I can help people, because people in business are not that helpful, etc. So that was the story. And then for the longest time I did not want to get paid. You know what I mean? I oftentimes didn't ask for a raise. I just did enough just to get paid the bare minimum. And also, what's related to that is because I really do believe that rich people are bad people. And I didn't want to be the bad person. So, therefore, I don't need to be making a lot of money. And until I really shift out of that and really understanding, wow, this is how, I have been operating. Then it became apparent to me that I was resisting opportunities. I just wanted to keep myself small due on those beliefs, the stories that I just shared with you. Okay. And so I'll continue to share my experience and the connections to all of this with you as we go through. But some things that you really want to really see and how it's being expressed in your business right now is that if there is inconsistency in your business right now, and if you have trouble making any business decision, especially investing in your business, if you have any trouble about spending money and then feeling guilty afterwards and things like that, it's really important that you address your relationship with money and heal it before you can actually be successful and be wise and actually even one day become an investor, in your business. And three things that I have learned and which I wish that, we were taught in even in elementary school. My daughter is first grader, and we already start teaching her about money. It's so important that money. People need to be educated how to earn, how to keep, and also how to invest it, how to multiply it. We oftentimes are taught what to do, like save, but no one ever really takes the time to explain to us, why do we need to save, right? And what's important of actually keeping the money that we're making, and then how to really understand the money in a sense so that we can have it multiply, right? Like how to get money work for you. Like for the longest time I never really understood it. Like I heard the words, but I didn't understand what it really means to have your money work for you. So those are just some things that I know and normally we're not really educated on. So I invite you to have any questions or around what we're talking about, do research, reach out, talk to us. But this is really important, you guys. Like, unless you can really understand your relationship with money, I can tell you that you're not going to be making the money that you really want. And honestly, this is now, I'm also getting certified. I'm almost done with my certification. So for money coaching, is that this is now one of our milestones in our coaching program right now, is that all of our clients need to go through a month long of intensive coaching on really understanding how are they handling money, and what are some of the barriers that's holding them back from making the right decisions in their business. And oftentimes it's because from all of the money issues that they had in the past. Okay, so let's move on. Right, we talked about money stories, which is what, the things that we grew up with, the beliefs that were ingrained in us as from our parents and people that we know. We talked about um, our what is it, personalities, right? And I want to go into personalities a little bit here just so that you understand the different types. And there are 8 types of personalities, believe it or not like introverted and extroverted. There are 8, and I'm gonna just read them off to you and for you to see which one of these are you identifying with, right? And know that once you do take a quiz, this is like an assessment that we have our clients go through. You will see that there are always going to be the 2 or 3 most dominant archetypes or personalities, quote unquote. So the first one is the innocent, right? Like those people avoid everything that had to do with money, and they want to know nothing about it because they're committed to feeling safe, because if they think about money, it makes them feel weird, right? The victim, the money types here is be prone for external forces and financial, um, forces from the outside. It could also be, oh, because I grew up in a third world country, so I don't have the opportunities per se. That the victim would have that mindset when it comes to money. Right, the warrior really conquers the world of money and generally is really successful, in business and finance, right? Like those people are fighters, they always find a way to get what they want, and they're always up for a fight, and they will not give up. The martyr tends to be really busy with taking care of people, and they put the people's needs before theirs, and they really neglect themselves. The fool seeks for financial shortcuts and to make really quick money. So, whether it is, if they have to work hard, they rather just be the middleman, for example. So they're always looking for shortcuts. And then the creator or the artist type of in the Murney personality is they're so spiritual, and they are always thinking that, oh, everything should be granted because we deserve it, and that everything should come to us easily and everything is going to be all right. The tyrant really uses money to control people, and under circumstances and all circumstances that they are in power. And then last but not least, the magician, which is out of all 8 types of personalities or archetypes, they're the best and the most ideal because they're really connected to the spiritual world and the dynamic of the spiritual world and the material world. And those people are pretty purposeful, very driven. They're really, really relentless, just like they have a combination between being a warrior and also a magician and being in control in a way that is actually for good. And then yeah. So if any of these really resonates with you, most likely you're more one of those archetypes than not. I'm going to share with you out of all of these 8, like 8 archetypes, which one more so for me. So fortunately, because of my upbringing and because I've been doing a lot of work on myself and up and even into this point, I have a high level of warrior in me, and then also a high level magician. However, I have 2 other ones, archetypes that are just as strong, and which I will explain more so in why these things are being expressed in my business, and why I realize that healing my relationship with money is going to be really important for me to take my business to the next level. It's the first one I struggle with, the most for a long time is being the fool. Is that because I'm one of those people that I'm quick on my feet, and I'm always thinking about the most efficient way of doing something. So in a way, I'm always looking for shortcuts. Okay, if I can do that this way, how can I do it faster next time? And then the fool really like disregards like everything else, and just it's just like a fool, right? Like you're just not mindful. You're just doing whatever that um, more compulsive, at the moment. And also because I had high full as the archetype, I was actually very quick to spend money. I don't give it too much thought when it comes to spending money or investing in my business or buying certain things because that's just how I operated. So that actually was something that I have to be really working with to really understand, okay, what I have to be more of a warrior. And the warrior is actually going to be able to sit down and look at the pros and cons about, the decision and the investment or whatever that she is going to spend the money on. And then another one that actually I have to be very vigilant with is the innocent. Right, as much as I'm a warrior and a magician, like I'm making it in business, I'm doing these things and I can make anything happen like virtually from nothing. I also have the innocence in me. So basically the innocent avoids like the task of making that decision, the work behind it, the research, the whatever it is. And so oftentimes I don't do research when it comes to, or by way back when, I'm very aware of it now. I don't do research. I just go into it without really having an idea of what I'm getting in myself into, which is most of us are actually like that, as you know, if you're an entrepreneur. But at the same time, it has a downfall in a way that, because there's so much out there, you need to really understand what it is that you're getting yourself into in terms of pros and cons is one thing, but just like the magician, right? Like you have to be in tune with, is this decision going to get you closer to the goals that you want to achieve in life? And so yeah, it's going to be always an interesting dynamic between your I want to say the archetypes that's actually really working for you. You always ultimately at the end of the day want to be a warrior magician. It's a combination of a warrior and a magician, and then tame the other or be more vigilant with the other archetypes. So yeah, if you want to get in touch with us and take this quiz and see where you land, it's an amazing way just to really assess, wow, is this really, who I am? And is this how, I'm going to, handle my own problems with money? Because chances are, yes, if you're overspending, if you're underspending, if you're inconsistent with your revenue, if you're frustrated with not making enough money, like whatever it may be, if it's money related, it's easy to find out if, who you are. So that way you can really start working on that. And so, last but not least, I mean, I just want to just end the episode of the show with some tips for you in terms of like what you could do if you're one of these personalities, right? So, in general, like I mean, we talk about spenders and avoiders. Avoiders are basically the innocence, right? Like we don't want to have anything to do with it. And if you like to save, etc. In general, you can do different things, right? Like if you're the avoider, get support, engage, take yourself on a money date to like where you want to look at numbers together with your bookkeeper, your business partner, even your spouse. And so you don't have to be that innocent of who, trying to avoid everything. The spender, big time. I'm a big time spender. Of course, the story have been is because I was in a third world country, right? I was living in a third world country. So for a longest time, I spent out of deprivation because I was deprived, right? I was deprived from having what I wanted. So, I love sales. Sometimes I would buy so much and, there will be tags on the clothes and things like that. So that's another example. I don't want to go deep into it, but that's another example of my upbringing that actually manifests into, my way of spending for a long time was, I was spending out deprivation instead of like the need, right? And then if you are a savior, if you need to really designate a certain amount of money that you can spend on yourself per month and actually spend it. Like those people who loves to save and only saves actually are also getting themselves to a deprivation stage too. And you're not going to be in a happy place. And usually those people hoards, right? Like you want to keep all the cash, you want to, whatever it may be. So it's important to practice spending money on yourself. And then, the martyr, like the Mother Teresa of all of it, right? Like you have to really understand that you have spent time, resources, and money to get to where you are today. Like whether you have gotten a certification of some sort, you've attended college to have a graduate degree or undergrad, whatever it may be, you have spent time, money, and resources to get there. So no matter what it is you teach, if it relates to your experience, you deserve to get paid, right? And and just like if you are working a job or position in corporate, same thing. You're putting in your time and efforts, and then in turn, they should be compensating you accordingly. And so just that concept of, unless you can help yourself, you can't really help others, right? You can't sustain yourself, but you can't, help others. So that's another way to really think about it if you're more of a martyr when it comes to money, and really seeing, a way of uh, different ways of really seeing like your value is what I'm trying to convey. Great. And then essentially at the end of the day, it's really nice to really know where you are, because of a lot of the underlying money related things. I'll share another example too. So when we were growing up, we didn't have a habit of celebrating birthdays. And other people had birthdays parties, but I didn't. And for the longest time, I was always expecting something, from my boyfriend then, and now my husband now, that we were going to do something for my birthday. Again, similar to, being deprived from not spending money, I was expecting something because I feel less than, because I was not celebrated when I was growing up. So the expression of that in my business is, early on in my business, I had a hard time selling myself. I was not confident. I didn't ask for what I want. And oftentimes, I'm also a, recovered people pleaser. So all of that, right? Like, it's all related to your experiences in life, your money stories, your who you are. We call it the money history, and how we operate. It's all related to that. So I hope you enjoyed what I share with you today. I'm really super passionate about this, because until I was able to heal my complete, relationship with money, I was always worried. And to depart on this note, that money for me was security. So I was always striving, I was always struggling, I was hoarding. But then at the same time, there were so many conflicts with me not making money because I didn't want to be a bad person. So all of that I have been able to now bring into awareness and work with, and being very, very vigilant, I want to say diligent with, hyper vigilant is what I'm trying to convey. Is like, we all have those personalities that's going to hold us back from our level of success. So it's important to understand it. So reach out to us if you're curious. I would be excited for you to take the assessment to see where you land, and to see how we can help you. But comment below, let me know what resonated with you. But I hope that you'll be back for another episode soon. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks for tuning in to the Fear Factor podcast. Make sure to rate and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. New episodes are dropping every Thursday, and we can't wait for you to tune in next time. Until then, have an awesome week.